going because we've got food coming and there's plans to follow. So, and the reason why we do this actually is we have a Centre for Mobility's board meeting at 1 o'clock, and to get ourselves inspired, we always get people to come and talk about the research that they do around mobility. So I thought, because some people are here who don't maybe know about the Centre for Mobility's research, so I thought I'd give a little bit of an overview of what we do. So I'll talk about what kind of projects we've got, what kind of things we do, the kind of people involved. So just to give you an idea of the kind of projects so CMORE, the Centre for Mobility's research, is a group of people across the campus who are interested in mobilities either as an empirical phenomenon or as a theoretical approach, looking at the world as in movement, in flux, or as a methodological approach of studying the world by moving along with things, people, objects, ideas, information. So, and for many people, all those three things actually come together. So what you see today, some of you have a list of the people who will speak. You see a great diversity of kinds of research that people are doing. And that's also reflected in the kind of projects that we've got. So we've got low carbon innovation, David Tyfield is working on that. James Falconbridge is working on disruption to travel patterns. But we also have things like informational mobilities in disaster response, which Katrina and I are working on, or interest in migration and asylum seekers and refugees and their movements, research on the home, all sorts of things. Mobile utopia is a big emerging theme at the moment, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And livable cities is something that Kip Kosman's worked on, to how to integrate emergent existing mobilities and urban development with emergent new forms of mobilities. And that also translates into some publication activities. So we've got 2 journals. Mobilities is the longest running. I think it started in 2006. Yeah. So there's a few copies around, so have a look at those. This is a more recent one, where people are starting to document the way in which, hi Sophia, the way in which mobilities research can inform policy and design and change in practice. And then we've got 2 book series. One is Changing Mobilities, and I've got the first one here that you're welcome to have a look. And Lynn's just launched a new book series on studies in mobilities and literature and culture. Yeah. And there'll be time to talk to all of us over the lunch. So I'd quite like to press on with the presentation. So this is just a glimpse of the kind of things that people do who are associated with CMORE. Then at the bottom of the corridor, we have a room full of equipment, ranging from mobile phones to big cameras to GPS trackers, all sorts of equipment that people can use for their research. So anybody from all over campus can take it, students as well as staff, although students have to go through a staff member. And you're welcome to use it. It would be really nice if people documented the kind of work that they do to teach others also of how they might use the equipment. And then the most important thing, of course, is people, and you're part of it, you're here. You see some of the people here, we are the directors, so we plan and try and facilitate collaborations. But you see that we're all networked amongst each other, and perhaps Penny is the most central node. Penny, could you just come around so that everybody can see? Yeah, Penny is really central. Kosmin is also really central because he does our digital strategy, so he does our website and helps people put up blogs. So this is it. Yeah, and then we all have various roles, and maybe we could just go around. There's a few of us here, so maybe we could just briefly say what we do. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, so hello everyone, I'm David Tyfield. As Monica introduced, my work has been on low carbon innovation, specifically on e-mobility in cities, and specifically in China. So I've just been living in Guangzhou for the last few years, and I've just returned to campus, and I'm in Lek. And finally, I'm one of the editors now of Mobilities, so I'm very proud of that honour. Thank you.
I'm Jen Southern.
Could you stand up then, because those people can
Oh, sorry.
I'm Jen Southern. I'm the director of the Mobilities Lab. I work particularly on mobility and art, and in my own research I've been working recently with mountain rescue dogs in the Lake District. And I kind of help with all the equipment and the website and getting access to that. So if you have any questions about the equipment, then do email me.
Yes. Lynn, yeah.
Okay, yes, I'm Director for Mobilities and the Humanities, and have been for the last couple of years, and I've been developing links between mobilities research in the social sciences and with humanities departments, both here and elsewhere. My own research, the most recent thing has been on driving and cognition, so driving perception and cognition, so the Drive Time, which came out this year. And I'm now moving on to a new project where I'm looking at the significance of mobility in personal relationships. Moving on to something new. I'm also working with Pete Merriman, the cultural geographer at Aberystwyth, who some of you are going to know. He's a big like road and mobility transport person, and we're doing some projects together as well. And the book series is one of the, I guess, main achievements to actually start really making that connection with humanities researchers.
So book proposals very welcome.
Very
Both
welcome.
for changing mobilities
Absolutely.
and the series. Yeah.
I'm Anne-Marie Fortier from the Sociology Department. My research has always been around migration, belonging and entitlement. And my current research, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, is about citizenship and migration. I've just joined the Board of Directors. I'm not quite sure yet what my role will be, but I'm very happy to be part of this. I've been part of Seymour for a number of years. So.
We have quite funny titles. Imogen, who's just resigned as a director because she's on research leave, she was the director of theory. Yeah? James?
My title's more hiding around the corner. I'm James Falconbridge. I'm from the management school. I'm very broadly interested, I suppose, in mobility in the kind of business organisational world. Into that project which is on the screen, kind of business travel, for example. I have a not very exciting title, Director of Research. We all work out what that means. I suppose one of the things for Seymour is thinking about how we can develop cross-campus research projects to bring people together and hopefully get us some funding to do the research we want to do. So.
And I'm Joe Bill. I'm in charge of coordinating Seymour's events primarily. I've also been helping out with digital strategy. My interest is in informational mobilities, data mobilities. A plug to be out printing some flyers on the table for an event we're running later on in April, which is supported in part by Seymour, which is called Data Publics, which is looking at some of the kind of, basically in part anyway, some of the kind of mobility questions that arise around the storage and proliferation of data.
Great, thank you. Yeah, hand it round, Joe.
I will. I'll just
Yeah.
have a take.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course my name is Monica Buscher. I'm here in the Sociology Department. My work is on the digital dimension of mobility, so I'm interested in information mobilities and IT ethics. So the work that I do is quite interventionist, really, so I work with practitioners. Katrina's going to say a little bit about the work that we do, I think. So and then of course there's you. Lots of people across the campus, we always have this showcase where various people speak. And there's also a whole series of international visitors that we have. So this is a selection of people just from last year and this year. I'm not going to go through all of them and everything that they do. One of them is here, Sophia. Could you just wave? She's doing work on mobilities of consumption and shopping malls. Some of these, we have a small pot of money because we're one of the Lancaster University Research Centres, which gives us about £5,000 a year to spend on things. And we spend the money on getting people here. So we give out Seymour fellowships. So they're £2,000 a person, and they come here and they give a talk, they organise an event, they collaborate with people. And so, and these are some of those fellows. And there's information on our website, you can find out about it. And if you have any ideas for themes for fellowships, keep them up. It's a competitive process, so it's not like you can suggest a person and then we'll invite them. It doesn't work like that. But what you can do is give us some ideas for themes that we could explore, and then we're happy to take it.
No idea where you would go.
Okay, so Joe was talking about events. These are some of the events that we're doing, and I've just picked out the major ones. So Joe's running this Data Publics event, and you've got the leaflet that's going around about that. There's LIMS Mobilities, Literature and Cultures event, which is in association with the book series in April, and you've got a leaflet there. It's on the other on one of the sides of the leaflet. And then this one is quite a big one. It's three events, but they're all one after the other, and they culminate in this event, which is a big conference. It's a joint conference between the International Traffic, Transport and Mobility Network, the Cosmobilities Network, and Seymour, and it's in association with the Institute for Social Futures. So that'll be around 200 people or 150 people coming to Lancaster, presenting on all sorts of things around the theme of mobile utopia. And that's not mobile utopia as an idea of what the world could be, but mobile utopia as a narrative, as a method to explore, to critique the world that we're in, to try and imagine better worlds, and to think about how we can construct better worlds in collaboration with other researchers, but also stakeholders and policymakers. And so we'd really love it if you could get involved in those activities. It also involves a bonfire school, and you're also welcome to participate in that and experiment, and I'll be happy to talk about that. Okay. So I don't want to keep us from the talks, because that's what I'm really interested in. So the basic idea is that we really invite people to engage with Seymour, so join us, join our mailing list so you find out about what's happening. Come to the showcase, either as a speaker or to just debate your work with others. Have a look at our website, and you can use our website to showcase your work, so we always welcome contributions and get in touch with Cosmet. We're happy to organize events around your research, so if you want to organize an event, get in touch with Joe. And also facilitate research funding collaborations. So if you have an idea for a research bit around mobilities, then get in touch and we'll try and help. And of course write about your work and publish in the book series and the journals. Okay, so, and now we come to the program, the reading group. Yes, come to the reading group. We just had a great discussion yesterday about Deleuze's difference and repetition. So now we've got the program, and the order of things on this program is not the order of things that's going to come about. I've mixed it up a bit, so it's going to be a surprise for the speakers when they're going to be up. And that you all strictly have 3 minutes, so after 3 minutes, Katrina's going to time you. So then it would be good if you could just hand over to the next speaker by clicking onto the next slide, so I don't have to stand here. So. And are there any questions before we move into that? There's time also on my lunch to talk about. Okay, so
Does anyone want to sit down? Yeah, this is empty.
in the interest of practicality, we'll start with you. Can you time yourself?
I can time myself,
Okay.
and the one will go off.
We will need to make way for the dinner
I
trolley.
started my timer.
Sorry. You start the timer.
So I'm Katrina Peterson. I'm a research associate in the sociology department, and I work with Monica on a few projects and some of my own. So my interests really revolve around the creative activities of information sharing around disasters and risk. So I'm really interested in how these activities are constitutive of content, so how we understand disasters and risk, and how these activities are constitutive of what we understand the technology itself to be able to do. So both sides. So this means for me, looking at a few different things, and my slides are backwards.
Oh, I'm next.
There you go. Sorry.
I should be ready.
So part of what I do is actually look at visual representation. So not necessarily photography, but the kind of representations you make out of data. So I've spent a lot of time looking at how wildfire maps are made of different various sorts, the different ways in which data is gathered around understanding fires, the different way temporality plays in this, the different way in which different types of data try to get pieced together. And one of the things that I'm really interested in doing more of is trying to understand how things like satellite data, grassroots mapping data, health survey data all kind of get compiled in different formats to try to understand what the bounds of a disaster are, what the risks are that are actually being faced in different ways. This is just actually, I used to volunteer for the Red Cross as a disaster mapper, so I would go, and a government liaison, so I was actually able to catch them using the different wildfire maps. Different types of mapping, different, this is Icona drone and video footage of image of mapping. I'm also really interested in the way borders play into these things. Like here's the edge of a image gathering, here's the US-Mexico border, a beautiful contentious thing. Here's where we're not allowed to gather data. Here's a very wildfire prone area. So just little bits about how these all make us understand disaster and risk. But I'm also really interested in the underlying data infrastructures, and that's part of what I do while I'm here, which is trying to understand the data ontologies and the related practices and what it means to share data fundamentally structurally, and how you can do it in ways that doesn't make everybody have to think and do data in the same way, because that's never going to happen. So how can you think about the different ways in which we practice what data is, and design it in ways that actually allow us to have community and diversity, or care and contestation, or debate and discussion, instead of making everybody try to do things in the same way.